Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson. Today in the studio, we have Beau RaRa, a staff attorney with the Disability Law Center and Client Assistance Program of Minnesota. The story you'll be hearing from Beau and their guest is a relatable story, as most of us have experienced an individual education plan or an individual plan for employment. These are services that help us level the playing field and navigate the world of education and the workplace. This story may not be the exact story that you experience or would experience, but it will illustrate how the intersection of race, disability, or differences can impact one's access to their rights and education plan that they deserve. So without further ado, here's Beau RaRa. We hope you enjoy.
Hi, this is Beau RaRa. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a staff attorney with the Youth Law Project at Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid and the Minnesota Disability Law Center. I'm honored to be here today, hosted by Blind Abilities, to talk with Japricia Dakota about her experience at the intersection of disability, individual education plans, which are also known as IEPs, school discipline, and race. Every youth with a disability has a right to a free and appropriate public education, and yet that does not always happen without knowledge of one's rights and zealous advocacy. Our hope is that Japricia's story will build awareness, share her wisdom with you all, celebrate her accomplishments, and encourage those who see themselves in her story to connect with advocates. So now we'll go to Japricia's story. All right, so this is Beau speaking, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with Japricia Dakota, who's so generously going to share her experiences around school discipline, individual education plans, and race here in Minnesota. So I'll just start by asking you, Japricia, to tell us a little bit about yourself, your passions, your upcoming plans, and recent graduation.
All right. I'm 20. I just turned 20. I am graduating high school pretty soon here, and I'm starting college this August. And my passion is to fight towards equal rights and justice. I'm going to definitely study criminal justice and psychology, and I can't wait.
It's a very exciting part of your life to get to know you and have this conversation. I know we talked before, and I'd love for you to share now about your experience in elementary school.
Yeah, elementary school was interesting. There were good and bad times, of course. Most of the time, I would always have to defend myself or my siblings in school because we got picked with and bullied with a lot because I was like I am still chubby. I'm a fat kid. I was a fat kid, and I would get messed with my weight and my race because I'm Native and Black, but I'm light skinned, so I also get picked with that, and so would my siblings. So I would definitely defend this all the time.
Right. And so as a result of that bullying and some of that colorism that you were experiencing, what happened with school? With the staff? The
staff was predominantly white. The students were predominantly Black, and only a couple, you can count, there would be 2 Asians and 2 white kids in the entire schools. And I would say the staff was very, sorry, I can't find the word.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry. I got a brain fart.
No, so the staff, they didn't come from the same background as the students. And what kind of situation did that create, or feeling, or what kinds of actions did they take that then kind of emphasized those differences?
I can tell there was a colorism issue inside the school where they would treat lighter skin, from the teachers, from the staff, lighter skinned students better than dark skinned students. There was certain stuff that a kid couldn't do versus the kid that's the same age, same weight, same height, something, but it's just a color issue.
Right. And when were you first placed on an individual education plan, an IEP?
I was first placed in 6th grade.
And what were you told about that plan? How did that all unfold?
All they told me was I'm being put into a separate classroom from others and that it's because of my anger.
And what were your parents told about the plan?
They were told that very little, that it was a temporary class for that week to catch up on something because of my attendance, because I was sick a lot.
Okay, so it didn't match. Like what you were told was about anger, and you weren't necessarily told like any diagnosis.
Exactly.
Yeah. How did IEP meetings go? So the school's supposed to have those.
So I actually didn't get a IEP meeting until my sophomore year in high school, and that's when I started educating myself on what an IEP is and what is special ed. And we found out that that same middle school in sixth grade was forfeiting my parents' signatures and saying that they were having IEP meetings with my parents when indeed they weren't there.
How did that feel for you and your family to find out what was supposed to be happening and that it hadn't been happening for so many years from sixth grade to 10th grade?
We felt upset, of course, and confused as to why. Why would they do something like that? What's the point? What was the purpose?
Right. And so I wanted to loop back to when you first were assessed and placed on a plan. You were experiencing a lot of bullying and like racial tension. And then during some of those conversations when you were being assessed, they asked a lot of questions about like your family. Do you remember what you said about that?
They would always pull me to the side in classrooms and they would ask me a lot of questions like, how do you feel safe at home? Where do you live? Does your parents keep you safe? It was like they were trying to get at something that wasn't there, trying to find an issue inside of my household that wasn't there. And like my answers were, my parents are great, like that. And that would like seem to upset them that my parents were good parents.
Right. So there was this assumption that the problem was in your home and not necessarily some of the tensions that were in the school building with other classmates.
Exactly.
So the other thing that we talked about was your experience with seclusion. So you had an experience where you were placed in a room.
Yeah. So there was this one time I was in sixth grade. I was put inside of a very small room. I would say like a janitor room or a very small storage room inside of the school building. And there was two men. One was an old white guy and the other one was a very tall black guy. And I was confused as to why I was put into this room because I didn't get suspended that whole week or the week before or got in trouble. And I kept asking them, why am I here? Why did you put me here? And they wouldn't tell me anything. And I had asked, can I leave the room? And I wanted to leave, but they had blocked the exit to the room. And sorry, it's too hard to talk about.
It's really emotional and that's okay. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing a painful experience with us.
Yeah, thank you. I tried to leave the room. I tried to find the exit anywhere in the room, but there were just high up windows and they were both blocking the exit. So I started freaking out, crying hysterically, and I told them I wanted to call my parents now, and they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't allow me to. And so then I just put my face into my arms and started hysterically crying at this desk that was in there. Honestly, that's all I can remember from that day because of how long ago it was. Yeah, it definitely caused some issues with men and being in small rooms or the door being closed or anything.
That makes total sense that would have a lasting impact, and I'm really sorry that happened. How long do you think you were in that room?
I was in there for the whole school day. All I remember is being let out once to go to the bathroom because I didn't want to interact with anybody. I just fully shut down and was sad.
And then what happened after that?
So I didn't tell my parents the same day because I was exhausted and I just went home and went to sleep. I told them the next day and I can't exactly remember what happened after. I know for a fact they were really upset and they went up to the school and talked to the principal and yeah.
So your parents advocated for you when they had the information that they needed to, it sounds like.
Yeah.
They went to IEP meetings when they knew they were something that they had a right to go to. And then I think the last thing that we spoke about that we haven't talked about yet was something around the school police officer and the reputation of that police officer. I can't remember if it was connected to the room or a different experience that you had.
Well, there was this officer that was in the school. I started off in sixth grade at a different middle school, and he was there. And then when I transferred to a different school in the same grade, he was also there, and he was just such a he was just a butthole to everybody, like except for the principal, and it was just weird. He was known for messing with people and being rude and mistreating people.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking about difficult experiences that you had in school in a building that was, meant to be like a safe place where you could go and get educated. So I didn't include these necessarily in the question, but I guess if you are open to it, it would be great to hear what you would want educators or community members to know about, or like how you would have liked those situations to be handled, or hopes that you have for future students.
I would want them to be honest to why they put me into the room or explain more about it. And there was no communication, so communication would have been very helpful. I would say definitely if you get put on an IEP, study into it. There's a lot of things in there that can help you that's beneficial that they don't tell you, so you have to do your own research.
Right. So that's kind of some advice for other youth who might be listening is to read your IEP or look over it and see what kinds of things. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. I don't think I had anything to add about that. What experiences or dreams have influenced what you are going to study?
Lately, with the whole movement going on, I learned about racial matters at an early age, and I just saw the injustice in the world, especially for people of color, and I really want to bring some justice to both of my people, to everybody, and show the world what respect is and what equality is.
That's really exciting. Yeah, I love that you channeled all of your energy into that, especially when it sounds like some of these experiences could have landed like that school building isn't for me, or like that space isn't for me. I don't know if that's how you felt. Yeah. At what point did that kind of I guess what motivated you throughout all of this? Just so people can maybe share, you never know what you held on to that pulled you through experiences that got you through the education system. So if you're willing to speak to that, that would be great.
What just kept me pushing was I'm the oldest in the family, and at the time I had 2 younger siblings. Now I have 3 younger siblings that look up to me a lot, and I have 2 great parents that wouldn't allow me to give up, and I do most of what I do to show them that it's possible to do things, and set a good oh my gosh, I can't think of this word, example. There we go.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, being the oldest can definitely be an extra sense of being seen and wanting to lead in that way. Yeah, I feel really lucky that I got to connect with Japricia through my friend at Dakota Prep. Pretty special opportunity, and I think we are all sharing stories. I think really helps bring people together. You never know who's going to see yourself in your story, and so I just want to thank you for coming on here today to speak with us.
Thank you for this opportunity.
If you or someone in your life relates to the school discipline issues or IEP struggles or any disability-related legal issue that you heard today in Japricia's story, please do reach out to the Disability Law Center. This podcast is part of a larger project called Into Adulthood, whose purpose is to connect with youth 14 to 21 who have disabilities and center their voices. Into Adulthood also focuses on ensuring these same youth can access employment and career opportunities as a part of our Client Assistance Program, which is also known as CAP. So please do call our intake line at 612-334-5970.
Big thanks to Beau RaRa for bringing us that story, and their guest for sharing and having the bravery to share their story. And hopefully none of you will ever have to experience that type of experience. And if you do, be sure to contact your state services, your VR, and your client assistance program in your state. And for more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and on Facebook, check out the Blind Abilities page and the Blind Abilities community, where you can learn, support, and advise. And if you want to give us feedback, have a question, give us a call at 612-367-9063. That's 612-367-9063. We'd love to hear from you. And a big shout out to Chichao for his beautiful music. You can follow Chichao on Twitter at El Chichao. Chichao. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, to you, your family, and friends, through these challenging times, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.